We will actually start with an interactive session before we do anything else, because we just heard about the importance to connect to that one person, to that one very person who you make a difference for. But in this session, we're going to speak about the importance to connect the world. And connectivity starts with all of us. So let's try something to connect this room, all of you, to each other. So hold that string and pass it on, and pass it as fast as possible to everybody else. And so the left and the right, here's the string. I want all of you somewhat connected, because that's what matters today. We are connected. We are connected with this, many of us. This connects us, but this is not virtual, that's real. Touch it. Feel of how you connect to everybody else. Now let's start with something what bothers all of us these days. And I think particularly here in Austria, also in my home country, Germany, we talk about something every day, and it actually becomes really annoying because we talk about it so much. That's the refugee crisis. Let's put this into perspective. Here in this room, 200, 250 people. In the world, 250 million people on the move. 250 million people currently recorded as migrants and refugees. So that is a figure which is really important, and really important to remember. Because right now in Europe we are worried about maybe 1 million people coming to us, forgetting that we have already 70 million people currently counted as migrants living in Europe. And what we have also not realized, by the way, there are 90 million people counted as migrants and refugees in Africa. And we are not right now worried about 1 million people coming. So there is something strange. Also, we do not realize that in the world today, 870 million people have gone hungry. There's 1.5 billion people or so living under the minimum of $1 or so a day. 2.5 billion people below $2.75 a day. These are perspectives which are scary, really scary. And so then we wonder that people begin to move. Statistically seen since this morning, 42,000 people were displaced by war and crisis and lack of any form of tolerance or so by war. Statistically seen, tens of thousands moved from villages to cities. 75% of us will live in urban centers within the next 25 years or so. Hundreds of thousands are being displaced because of climate change. Poverty, war, climate change, being fed up with having no perspectives, this brings people to start moving. To start moving, looking for new perspectives. And 1 million of them is just coming to us and looking at how it works here. Because, and that's where we're coming to connectivity, they also have Google Earth now. They also know how it looks on the other side of the globe. Before we had the luxury that we knew how it looked there, because we were tourists. We could travel to the poor countries and they had no idea of how it looked on our side of the globe. Now the poor coming to us, everybody knows how it looks in every single corner of the world. And that is somehow annoying. Because again, still, most of the world's resources are with us. And if you look at these little sort of animation movies you can find on the net, where you see of how resources come to us from all those countries. Little light dots of minerals, metals, rare earths, all sorts of things traveling to us. Now they come with the people together, so everything is coming to us. So we are sucking in the resources. The question is, and we have been, this is nothing new, discussing of how we share better. So far, we have been sharing through charity. Charity is something which I find dehumanizing. Charity is okay when there's a crisis and you need to save lives. That's important. In the very first moments of a crisis, yes, people need tents, water, medical care, food through a canteen or whatever. But very fast comes something else, and that is dignity. Very fast after that comes something else, which is recovering my identity. Very fast comes something which is called beyond survival, what makes actually somehow the human being. And a lot of this, poor people have no access to. They are busy the whole day in surviving. I remember that woman in Mogadishu one day, she told me, the way of how you're assisting us keeps me busy the whole bloody day. The whole bloody day I'm queuing up, half of the day I'm queuing up to get cooked meals from the United Nations. Then I have to go 2 hours to collect water. When one of my children is sick, then I have to spend another 4 hours to get access to a doctor. So the whole day I'm surviving. So now you're asking me to actually become independent and self-sufficient again. I can't, because your whole system is wrong. She didn't say it like this, but she said, I have no time to start my business again. So this brings us to begin to reflect. And this is also the good thing in this refugee crisis we're seeing right now in Europe, that we all have started reflecting. What can I do? How can citizens continue and contribute to change? We have seen and understood that governments have a role to play, and they're failing miserably right now all over the world, I would say, to deal with displacement and refugee influx and movements of people. But government's also nothing without the people, the citizens, and that's all of us, that's you now connected. A lot of the people here in this room have probably contributed over the last month to what is going on. Going to the stations, doing wonderful jobs, and really helping out there where there was a feeling, well, the state doesn't do enough. But that's good. That's how the world will grow and how the world is going to develop, because we're all connected. And that's important to understand. There's nothing wrong in this. In contrary, that's the future. The future is decentralized, people themselves taking initiatives. Connecting what we have with what others don't have. Moving away from the charity of giving and just dishing out something to also sharing what we can do. You have this little piece of paper which was on your seat when you came in. Look under your butts and you may find that paper. I'm aware that not everybody will have a pen, but you will start thinking about of what you can share with somebody else in the world, again, through your phone, through Skype, through whatever, through actually your knowledge and your skills. But please don't put teddy bears and bananas. Don't put the €5 you will put in a box for one of the aid organizations to cover yourself and saying, I've done something good. Think about how you, as the people of the 21st century, can actually share. And just to tease you a little bit on that, I will speak about a high-tech project we are doing with a wonderful team down in Jordan, in the Middle East, where we have started discovering that actually refugees are very clever people. They're actually human beings. Wow, that's a big discovery. They're not things. They're not poor little things. They can learn, they can do. And there's one thing we did develop with them. We introduced, through refugee technicians, with our team Refugee Open Where, my good friend David Levin down there in Amman, we introduced the FabLab movement to Jordan. We introduced the whole connectivity of open source to Jordan. And one of the products is absolutely amazing, which is totally normal for us already, is this. This is a 3D printed hand for somebody who has lost a hand, obviously. So this is being done by Syrian technicians together with Jordanian technicians in Amman, based on somebody else who sits, in this case, I think in Barcelona, and actually develops this hand based on the information given by the technicians in Amman. Now, I have another one, a small one. Guess what the cost of something like this becomes, because it's open source, because it's done in the region, it's done by the people themselves, because it's a result of connectivity. Anybody has a guess for this one? Small hand. New hand for a child which has lost 4 fingers in the war of Syria. $75. $75 for a new hand, which usually costs about $1,000 and more if you do it the traditional way. Now we will watch a little movie about something else. Just tell them in a second. Yes. This is actually Ahmed. Ahmed lost his eyes, shot by a sniper 2 years ago. He's actually a friend of our technicians. He's blind. He came to Jordan. Obviously, he had a problem to move. What happened was, nobody had a clue of how to get him a device which would not be the white stick and the usual low-tech devices you have. This was produced together with a developer somewhere in Detroit for $30. It's an echolocation device. It's basically more or less what you have in your car. It vibrates when Ahmed gets close to some obstacle. Again, a result of people putting together their hands, thinking, how can we solve a problem? I have a problem, anybody out there solving a problem. That's the whole context of open source. That's how it works. And another example, now we watch movie number 2, and you will actually find this. Zayn he's actually a little boy from Yemen, badly burned. He got a new hand, similar to this one, other model. Again, the system is, somebody out there, can you help? Can you do something? And somebody has a solution. That's how we need to connect. This boy can move again. And we have many of these examples. We're not saying that this is the only solution. What we are saying is there's something everybody can do. So again, think about this paper, and if you can write something on it, what you could share, what skill you have, then that would be helpful for all of us. We're doing right now a project in northern Iraq, Kurdistan. People are shivering when they hear Kurdistan. What happened there? 4.5 million people in the independent region of Kurdistan. 1.5 million refugees joined from Iraq, from Syria, Yazidis from different parts of Iraq, but also Arabs and so on. What do they need? Not charity. The city of Duhok has doubled its population over the last 2 years. They need the city of Graz to help them to deal with 1.5 million people instead of 750,000 people. What do they need? Traffic planning, garbage management. They need somebody to help them to develop a way of how to build affordable housing. That's how we can contribute much more. And that's again what brings us to how can we connect? What means are the best way to connect? Do we need to travel to northern Iraq? Do we need to go there today? I don't think we still need. So there are ways of connecting which the 21st century has, in fact, given us. We are quite angry at times, many of us, against globalization, belonging to the rich and belonging to the capitalist system. But we have not understood that connectivity and the globalization which goes the other way is actually the way forward for all of us to contribute. So now I would like to get one or two people to say what they wrote on their piece of paper. Who has written something? You're writing. What have you written?
I wrote making share love and affection.
Love and affection. It starts with that. Go on Skype and talk to someone and say, here I am.
I just shared the knowledge how you can build an ethical business and earn money.
How to build an ethical business and earn money. Exactly, these are points. There are a lot of entrepreneurs out there. Young people, and also something which we should not forget. The young people are all connected. They're better connected than we think. Not only by WhatsApp, by many other things. And they know of how to set up something. What have you written?
I already talked about the life that I can bring.
Talking time.
Talking time. Give your time. This is one very important point everybody can share. Time. Time to share. Time to talk. Time to connect. Advise and support. There's a wonderful new technologies which are also linked to, for instance, medical care. Who is a doctor in this room? Anybody in medicine? No, now you broke my thing. Doctors don't come to TED Talks. But you have today, here's one, fantastic. So what you have today is telemedicine. Any doctor can be consulting somebody in northeastern Kenya. Any doctor can be consulting somebody who sits anywhere. There are now devices which are helping to do decentralized medical testing, but there are not enough doctors in many, many remote areas. So let's connect. The same way legal advice, the same way technical support to the tens of thousands of students who are out there who cannot continue their studies. So all what I wanted to say, the crisis we're having here right now is nothing what cannot be overcome. Turning it around into something where we share, turning it around into something where we help to manage it, instead of being passive and wait that somebody does it. You can do it, we can do it together. Thank you.